Hi, I'm Rob Abel. I'm the content coordinator with SC Media, and I'm here today with Adam Rogas. He is the CEO of NS8. Adam, how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
So, what are some of the interesting things you've seen at this year's conference?
It's always interesting to see, just what's going on in the cybersecurity space. I think that we're also involved in our own products to get a chance to go and see what other companies are doing, what other companies are pushing. Is just really a great time of the year to kind of get a sense of what's going on in the industry.
All right, and you said you heard a little bit of chatter about GDPR and some of what it can mean for bigger and smaller businesses.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a subject that's got a lot of people on different sides of the subject. There's a lot of companies that really don't think it matters to them, that's not going to affect their business. Maybe they have a more US-centric business that doesn't have a lot of the global concerns. And then there's a lot of players here, obviously, and our business as well, that's really affected by the legislation and the rules and regulations around GDPR.
All right. So how do you think some of the smaller businesses might deal with some of those concerns?
Well, one of the complex things about it is that, regardless of where you are in the chain of custody and, when it comes to the data, you can get swept up in these actions. And so for the smaller players, it exposes them to a really high liability potentially, depending on who they're servicing. And so that's scary for a lot of the smaller providers. They're doing, maybe they have a contract with a company that's dealing with millions of records of personally identifiable information, and now they're potentially subject to, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of fines potentially, due to the fact that they just happen to be a provider in the chain of data there. So I know a lot of the smaller providers have concerns around it. The bigger guys have a huge target on their back as well, and just by the nature of it, of solving the problem and putting it in a way that you can't sidestep the legislation and the regulations around it, has created a situation where it's a little toxic for some smaller players to be involved.
All right, and so what are some of the things you look forward to seeing and learning at this year's conference?
Well, like I said, I really enjoy seeing what other companies are touting this year as their big developments. Really like catching up with some of the companies. There's been a couple of mergers in the space, kind of seeing how those are being repositioned based off of what we saw last year and what we saw on the show floor this year.
All right, and what about some of the biggest threats that you think we might be seeing moving forward?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that identity is one of the things that you're really starting to see focus on. Obviously, identity management and the changing face of how that's being dealt with. That's a big area for us, a big area that we look at as it affects fraud and understanding who's on the other end of those blind connections. And it's kind of affecting a lot of different companies and a lot of different technologies that deal with identity, and password management and user access control and things like that. So that's a big one. Obviously, it affects pretty much all aspects of the business, and just the fact that the threats are not they're not just rogue individuals, that you're talking about nation state threats, and so the sophistication and the level of complexity has gone way up. So that's one of the big things, obviously, that's being talked about.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Once again, I'm Rob Abel. I'm the content coordinator with SC Media, and I'm here with Mr. Adam Rogas. He is the CEO of NS8.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks.